Hello and welcome to today's episode. My name is Carol. I'm a transformational speaker, unmovable optimist, writer and blogger, and I'm here to help you become the best version of yourself in your personal life as well as your business. Today's episode, we're looking at balancing your life, your work, your home as you fulfill your purpose. Guys, life can be very hectic. This I can't even I don't even know where to begin from, because sometimes you wake up and you're so overwhelmed, you don't even know what to do. You don't know who to speak to, you don't know where to start, and you're sitting there thinking, what next? What am I supposed to do? And towards the end of the year as well, people, they tend to be in this sort of like cocoon where they are so stressed out because they're trying to think of 1,000,001 things that they should achieve before the end of the year. Guys, slow down. Nobody is putting pressure on you. Yes, you have certain goals to achieve. You've got targets for those of you that are working, especially the sales environment can be, really hectic as well. But it's important to look after you. It's important to balance out your life. So, I've got inboxes. I've got people asking me every now and then, Carol, you do so many things. You're a mompreneur. You're out there. How do you balance your life? What do you do to make sure that at the same time, you are still keeping yourself together, but we can see that you're doing so many things. Guys, the most important thing is that you need to plan. I am such a planner. I cannot, that's the biggest advice I give people. It doesn't matter whether you're going to plan with technology, planning with your phone, or if you're gonna go old school like me, because that's my favorite. I go old school on so many things. But it's very important to write down the priorities. Even as you set out with your day, what is the one thing that you want to achieve? You don't always have to go, from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to 10, and then say, I need to make sure that before the end of the day, I achieve all this. Yes, you can have priorities like that from, 1 to 10, but there's always something that without, a shadow of doubt, this is the one thing that your day has to achieve. And that's where your energy should lie. This is where you should focus on. But also just having a great routine really helps. The diaries are there, planners are there. I'm already in, 2018. I've got my 2018 planner. So I know what it is that I want to do in January. But not everybody has that, privilege to go out there and just get a planner. So what is it that you are going to do? What are the steps that you can take to ensure that at the end of the day, you are not stressed out, you are not overwhelmed, you're not crashing? What is it that you can do? So that is what we're going to look at today. Okay, so you are now ready. You have, realized that you're so overwhelmed, you're so stressed out, and you want to just make sure that life becomes a little bit more pleasant as you wake up in the morning. You want to just not make that coffee for the sake of being awake, but because you want to enjoy it at the same time. So what are some of the things that you can do? Guys, you need to make sure that you know exactly what it is that you want to achieve. So set out for the 1 month, what is the one thing that you want to achieve? Whether it's work, it's your family, whether it's your relationship, whether it's your business, what is the one thing that you want to achieve in those areas? And make sure that you've expanded such that even if a stranger walked in and they said, okay, let's see what you're working on, they'll be able to understand. There'll be clarity there. They will know exactly what it is that you want to achieve. So make sure that you achieve that clarity in every single area that is important in your life, and you make that your priority so that everything else comes underneath, so that even when you wake up, you're not too overwhelmed. And make sure that you get a planner. It can even just be a notebook. Make sure that you write down this, whatever it is that you want to achieve. Everyone knows that I'm an avid believer when it comes to writing down everything. It doesn't matter what you're working on, but you need to make sure that you understand from your grocery list. Don't just, get up and say, I've forgotten this, and then you go to the store and you end up spending, a ridiculous amount of money on things that you didn't even need. There is power in clarity. There is power in writing down. So make sure you get a planner and, make sure that you understand what it is that you want to achieve in every single area of your life. So as you are achieving that, now start putting them in blocks to say, is it my work? Is it my career? Is it my family? Because everyone has personal values. Everyone has priorities. What I value today as a priority is not what you value. So you need to know what it is that you value, so that even when someone or something comes up, you know that you cannot be moved by that issue. You know that even if today your boss has told you, that I need you to stay up to a certain time, you know that maybe family is your, your number one priority. So how are you going to balance family and your boss? So you need to make sure that you understand, you compromise, you meet halfway and say, you know what, I may not be able to stay until 9 o'clock in the office because I've got this commitment. Maybe I put my kids to bed, maybe I read them a story, or I'm the one who does dinner on Wednesdays. You need to make sure that even the people that are on the other side and requesting something of you, especially with these corporate environments, they understand your values. Because if you, let's say at the beginning of your job, haven't told anyone what your values are, we don't know what it is that you prefer to put as a priority. Don't be surprised the next time when you're being asked to do something, and then when you say no, we'll be like, okay, but you never told us this, or we didn't understand. Make sure that your values are something that people, even on the other side, your priorities, people can understand. So ensure that you write down your number one priorities and let them be clear, even if it's to a stranger. Now you've aligned yourself, you know what it is that you want to achieve, you know your monthly, overall goals and your priorities. You've spoken to, you're the people that, matter to you in terms of that. Now what you need to make sure that you're doing when it comes to you not being overwhelmed, not being stressed out, and balancing, is to find out what are the resources that I need to ensure that at the end of the day, I'm achieving my goals. Let's give an example, like in a family setup. Most times, in Zambia, a lot of people know, and even just generally around the world, people, get extra help from either it's a paid nanny to a live-in nanny, or, maybe you get a help like a maid, or maybe you get an extra person like a driver or a garden boy. But at the end of the day, you need to find out what are the resources that will help me to achieve the goals that I have set out. Because at the end of the day, you can't do everything by yourself. And yes, there are certain things that will require your input. There are certain things that require your stamp. But it's important to also recognize that what are the resources that I need. Sometimes it could be, the extra support from the outside. Speak to, family members if you cannot pay somebody to assist you with, maybe the children in the home. Or maybe, speak to a colleague when it comes to the office. Have they got extra hours? Have they achieved their projects early, and maybe are they willing to, to lend a hand? You need to make sure that even the people that you're asking help from, you're very clear with them, from the hours that you need the help with to, the same resources that you need. How long are you going to use them for? Is it paid resources? Is it stuff that you can borrow? Because at the end of the day, most people, they're very scared to ask for help, and they want to, ask for help right at the end when they have, crashed out, they have burnt out, and they don't know what to do. And then now, they're in this state of panic. And usually when you get to that state of panic, you will find that the resources that you need either are not the quality that you require, or maybe even the time that is given to you will not be the time that you wanted. So you need to ensure that, like I said in the beginning, that once your goals are clear, once you know what it is that you want to achieve, even if a stranger walks in, takes a look at your planner, takes a look at your goals, they'll be able to understand, such that even when you go away, somebody that you've delegated your duties to will be able to understand, because right from the start your priorities are there. What it is that you want to achieve is there. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to spend money on the resources that you need, because sometimes you need that in order for you to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. So make sure that you get that help. Make sure that you understand what it is that you want from that person. What are the resources that are needed to ensure that your journey from A to B is very clear, so that even if somebody comes, they'll be able to understand exactly. So the other thing that you can do when it comes to balancing your life, your work life, your home life, is learning to say no. How many of you say no to things that you shouldn't be doing, places that you shouldn't be going? When was the last time you said no? Because sometimes we feel like we're affecting the next person by not saying no, but there's power in saying no. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to go everywhere. You don't have to be involved in every project, from church to work to family activities, committees that are so popular in Zambia, extra work that you shouldn't be involved in. Learn to say no. That way you'll be able to balance. Even in your home setup, kids are crying all over the place. People are coming in and out of the house, asking for this, asking for that. Learn to say no. For that moment, for that time, you are very important. Make sure that even as you say no, you are given reasons. It's not every single birthday event that you have to attend. It's not every single wedding that you have to attend. It's not every committee that you have to be on. It's not every project that you have to be on. Make sure that, even as you are saying no, when you go back, it's about those things that you valued. I always talk about understanding yourself and knowing yourself. So as you are saying no, make sure that people are understanding why. Fine, don't just say no for the sake of saying no, but why are you saying no? let people know that even as they come to you, especially with, ad hoc issues, and they come to you and, they're giving you 24 hours notice, or right there and then they're asking something of you, tell them that for me, I plan. I write down things, so I know exactly what it is that I want to, that I want to achieve. Make sure that you let people know that there are certain goals that you are trying to achieve, and you cannot, be involved in this activity, or, you cannot, render your help at that certain time. Just make sure that that thing of clarity comes back. So when you're saying no, say no with authority, say no with the power, say no knowing that next time somebody's not going to come and ask you the same thing. Have you noticed, like I always give this example when it comes to like children. Children will come to you and ask you a question, and you're going to say no, and they're going to come back again and they will test you. They will say, okay, I want this, or I want a sweet, I want a lollipop. They'll come back to you and ask you. And if you keep, if you're not going to, that no is not going to be firm. The next time they come to you, they'll be like, oh, she said no the first time, but the second time, she accepted, or he said no the first time, but the second time he accepted. So make sure people know that you are a person who values your no. That in that no, you're not being mean, that is nothing personal, that at the end of the day, you're not disturbing, a friendship, you're not disturbing a work relationship, that you're just being firm because you know exactly what it is that you want to achieve. Okay, so the other thing that you can do as well when it comes to balancing your work life is that you need to make sure that you take time out for yourself, because you is very important. You need to make sure that you plan time for yourself. If you're not able to, leave your city, or you're not able to leave your, your town, you're not able to leave the country, you're not able to leave the continent, make sure that you plan out the time for yourself. It could even be an allocated time in the day. It could be before, the world wakes up. I'm very, I'm much an advocate of before 5 a.m. You make sure that you savor that time. You sit down, you have that, that peace, that moment for yourself where nothing distracts you, not even your phone, not your planners, nothing. You're just sitting there and you're enjoying time to yourself. It could be even a break. You make sure that, you take maybe several, small little breaks during the day. Those used to help me a lot when I was in corporate. Or you make sure that, you make sure that even your time, even your lunchtime, if you're not able to drive back home, or you don't want to be in that environment where, it's all crazy, it's noisy, it's lunchtime, take time, sit in your car, maybe read a book that, inspires you, or listen to an audio. Or, for all we care, take a nap in the back of your car. Just do something that will, refuel you, something that will not remind you of everyday hassle that you have to, handle. Or it could be at the end of work. Make sure that when you get home, let everybody understand. If you live with other people, make sure that they understand that between 6 o'clock and 7:30, this is your time. This is you sitting down and there's no disturbance. Make sure that if you run a business, let people be clear about the number of hours that you work. So don't just have anybody calling you at 10 o'clock because they want your product or service, unless of course you do offer an after service, sort of like customer care, aftercare services, because you want to add value to your business. But then prior to that, what are you doing to balance out your time? Take a walk, have some coffee, maybe talk to your mentor, or meet up somebody that that every time you're in that space, they relax you, they bring out that that goodness in you. But just make sure that your time, your me time, your you time is very much planned. Because if you don't plan for it, it's not going to happen. Guys, balance in your life is about discipline. It's about you knowing what it is that you want to achieve, because if you don't, you are going to burn out. Transforming into better versions of ourselves in our personal life and our business is a deliberate, conscious action. So it may be well and good that you're getting these tips today, but then if you don't implement them, they'll be good as nothing. You're going to come back at the end of the year or the same time this year, and you'll be looking back and wondering, oh, what are those tips that I was given in transformation time? But at the end of the day, it's you putting, even, whatever it is that we've spoken about in this episode, putting it somewhere where it can constantly remind you to say that you are important, that balancing yourself is something that will help you to achieve the goals that you want, but you'll also be successful. And at the same time, you're going to be very energetic, you're going to be more focused, and everything is going to make sense. So I hope that today's episode has been very helpful in helping you balance your work life, your home life, and just your life in general. Don't forget to subscribe to the website. It's www.carolmushotatv.com. And don't forget to follow me on social media so that we can continue this conversation on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Carol Mushota TT. Thank you so much for watching.